Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into ethical AI and AI governance. You've got this great report you shared, and our mission really is to pull out the core insights.
Yeah, try and make sense of it all. AI is moving so fast, getting baked into, well, everything.
Exactly. Critical operations, customer experience, supply chains,
Hmm.
even things like medical diagnosis or financial stuff.
Which brings us straight to the big questions, doesn't it? The ethical side. Things like algorithmic bias, transparency, or the lack of it.
Right, the black box problem and data privacy, of course.
Hmm.
Plus, who's actually responsible when an AI gets it wrong? Accountability.
And that's not just academic. For anyone listening, getting your head around this it's strategic now, isn't it? Not just compliance, box ticking.
Totally. Trust is everything here. If that trust breaks down because of, say, bias or data leaks or decisions nobody can explain.
Well, you lose customers, employees get wary, investors get nervous. It hits the bottom line.
So ethical AI and good governance, they're actually business enablers. They help manage risk, build those important relationships.
And they're connected, right? Ethical AI is like the moral compass guiding AI towards doing good.
And AI governance is the how, the framework, the rules.
Exactly. The policies, the standards, the structures to manage AI responsibly. One informs the other.
Okay, so let's get a bit more concrete. What are those core ethical principles we should be thinking about, according to the report, anyway?
Well, the big ones are human well-being comes first. Fairness is crucial, actively fighting discrimination. Transparency, so we know what's going on.
Accountability, knowing who's responsible.
Definitely.
Uh,
Plus privacy, data security, making sure the AI is actually safe and reliable. Inclusivity, too, thinking about everyone it affects.
Sustainability's in there, too. And importantly, keeping humans in the loop. Human oversight.
Yeah, that's key. So governance takes those ideals.
And makes them real. Puts them into practice.
Pretty much. It means setting up accountability structures, defining role. That means transparency through things like proper documentation.
And processes to tackle bias. And ensure security.
Right. Risk management protocols, compliance checks, and like you said, building in that human oversight at different points. Governance makes ethics actionable.
Got it. So ethics is the why, governance is the how. Makes sense. Now, the report spends a lot of time on AI bias. That seems like a huge hurdle.
Oh, it is. And it's complex. Bias isn't just one thing. It can come from the data itself, you know? If the data's skewed or reflects old prejudices.
Like unrepresentative data or historical bias baked in.
Exactly. Or it can be in the algorithm design choices developers make, maybe without realizing the impact. And then there's plain old human bias creeping in from the creators or users.
The report had some pretty stark examples of this playing out.
Yeah, really brings it home. Like that Amazon hiring tool that learned to penalize resumes with words like women's.
Right. Or Google showing high-paying job ads more often to men and bias against certain names or ages.
And in criminal justice, the Compass algorithm showing bias against Black defendants, facial recognition tech having higher error rates for people of color.
It's worrying. Healthcare, too.
Algorithms disadvantaging Black patients because they used healthcare cost as a proxy for need, which is flawed. Diagnostic tools being less accurate for certain groups.
Skin cancer detection, I think.
Yeah.
And even pulse oximeters on darker skin tones.
Yes, exactly. And finance isn't immune credit scoring, potentially locking in economic gaps, bias in loan approvals.
Wow. Okay, so the consequences are serious and widespread. What can actually be done to mitigate this bias? Is it even possible?
It's an ongoing fight, not a one-off fix. You need a multi-pronged approach. Looking at the data is huge. Getting diverse data, cleaning it, maybe using synthetic data carefully.
And adjusting the algorithms themselves.
Yeah, using specific fairness metrics during development, employing debiasing techniques, but also, crucially, process and governance matter.
Like what? Audits.
Bias audits, yes. Continuous monitoring after deployment, having solid ethical frameworks, and importantly, diverse teams building this stuff. Plus, explainable AI, XAI helps too.
Let's talk about that XAI, that black box issue you mentioned. Why is making AI explainable so critical?
Well, fundamentally, it's about trust, isn't it? If you have some idea how a decision was reached, you're more likely to trust it.
Makes sense. Easy to check if it's fair, too.
Exactly. Essential for fairness checks, for accountability when things go wrong, for meeting regulations sometimes. Plus, it helps developers debug and improve the models, and users just feel better if they have some clue what's happening.
The report mentions specific methods, like LIME and SAPE. Briefly, what are those about?
Well, LIME tries to explain a single prediction by building a simpler, understandable model just around that specific instance, sort of a local explanation.
Okay. And SHE.
SHAP comes from game theory, actually. It tries to assign a value to each feature based on how much it contributed to a specific prediction. It gives you a sense of feature importance.
Interesting. But even with XAI, accountability still feels tricky. If an AI makes a mistake, who is responsible? Especially with these complex, sometimes evolving systems.
It's a massive challenge. The black box issue persists even with XAI sometimes. AI can act quite autonomously. Responsibility is often spread across many teams, many stages. And AI doesn't have legal personhood, right? So traditional liability models, they struggle.
So what can we do? What mechanisms actually help build accountability?
The report points to a few things. Strong governance structures are key, like ethics boards, clear roles. Regular audits are vital, auditing the AI, its impact, the risks.
Documentation seems important too.
Hugely good documentation, using those XAI tools we talked about. Having clear ways for people to seek redress if they're harmed. And again, that recurring theme, human oversight.
Let's zero in on that. Why is human oversight so consistently highlighted as essential?
Because humans bring things AI just doesn't have right now. Ethical judgment, common sense really, contextual understanding, the ability to spot weird errors or edge cases an AI might miss.
And it provides someone to actually be accountable.
Exactly. It's an accountability anchor. It allows for intervention when needed. There are different models, human in the loop where a person approves decisions.
Right. Human on the loop for monitoring.
Yeah, supervising. And sometimes human out of the loop for low-risk tasks. But even then, you need oversight of the overall system. It requires careful design, good tools like XAI training, diverse teams doing the overseeing.
Okay, this has been really helpful in unpacking the report. So quick recap. We've got the core ethical principles, the why, then the governance structures, the how.
We hit the big challenge of bias, where it comes from real-world examples and how we try to tackle it through data, algorithms, and process.
Right. And the need for explainable AI, XAI, to build trust and enable accountability, though it has its own limits.
And that complex accountability piece where governance, audits, XAI, and especially human oversight come together.
They really are two sides of the same coin, ethics and governance. You need both working together.
Absolutely. One provides the moral direction, the other the practical means. They reinforce each other.
So wrapping this up, and considering everything we've discussed, the incredible power of AI, but also how these ethical and governance frameworks are still, catching up. Here's something to chew on.
Okay.
What fundamental societal values should ultimately draw the line? Where do we decide the boundaries for AI's autonomy, what we allow it to do? Something to think about.
Thanks for joining this deep dive.